Did you know in order to evolve this Pokemon, you have to hold your device upside down? Or this Pokemon, you can only evolve it if there's a full moon. After 10 years of Pokemon Go, we have some pretty interesting evolution mechanics, and today I'm going to show you the hardest. And we're going to check my account to see if I have any of these. Starting with this guy, the evolution of Inkay to Malamar, this is really cool. So to evolve this Pokemon, again, scroll down, as you can see, to evolve to Malamar, there's a question mark. But if you click on it, the question mark is actually upside down. And that's because you take your tablet or your phone, you turn it upside down, and look at that. The evolution becomes available and you can click and evolve, which allows you to evolve your Inkay, which is upside down when you evolve it. So when you hold it, it's right side up, and then you flip it over, and then you'll get your Malamar, which is standing right side up. And the reason why you want to know how to evolve this is because Mega Malamar is coming to Pokemon Go for the first time ever this month when I'm recording it. So you need to be able to evolve it in order to get the Mega, which, as you can see, the Mega energy is right there. Then we've got Zygarde, which I do have, but I only have 31 Zygarde cells because I am unmotivated to get more. And the crazy thing is this thing came out, as you can see, back in July of 2023. The only way to get it was via special research where you got one single Zygarde, and there's a couple of different versions that you can get. You can get the next form, which looks like this dragon looking thing, and then the complete form Zygarde, which is very big, very good in PvP, but really hard to get because what you need are these things called Zygarde cells, which you can get by going on routes. There's a couple of Zygarde cells that can spawn on routes every single day. I forget, this feature's been updated so many times over the last couple of years, but this has been consistently one of the hardest evolutions or form changes to get in Pokemon Go, simply because the routes feature is kind of annoying, difficult, and not very beneficial to use. It's not very fun, and it requires a lot of going out, walking around for a long time, like a lot of consecutive days in a row to get enough Zygarde cells to evolve it. So maybe I'll get this one day, but for now, I don't have it. Next, we've got Gimmighoul. Now, Gimmighoul is very interesting because it's a Pokemon that was released in partnership sort of with one of the newer Pokemon games. There's only a few ways to get a Gimmighoul in Pokemon Go. Number one is by sitting by a golden Pokestop. So basically what you need is another person to get a golden lure module, which I'll explain how you can get it, to have one of those, to place it on a Pokestop, and then a Gimmighoul can spawn on that golden Pokestop. But the way that you get a golden lure module and the way that you get Gimmighoul is by having a Pokemon Scarlet and Violet game on the Nintendo Switch, and a Nintendo Switch, kind of expensive, and then sending a postcard from Pokemon Go to your Scarlet and Violet Nintendo Switch game. To do that, you just have to connect your Nintendo Switch to your Pokemon Go account in your settings, send a postcard, and then you'll be able to open up this item right here, the coin bag, which is essentially an incense that lasts for, I think, an hour and spawns Gimmighoul based on how much you're walking. So you do need to walk to use it, and it will spawn and you can use these once per day. Now, that will give you Gimmighoul, but that will not allow you to evolve it. In order to get a Goldango, which I only have one, you need to collect 999 coins. Specifically these coins at the bottom here, Gimmighoul coins, which I have 1,445. To get Gimmighoul coins, you just have to spin golden Pokestops. Sometimes there's events that happen in Pokemon Go where golden Pokestops will just spawn randomly around the map, but the only other way to get it, if there isn't a special event, is by sending a postcard to your Nintendo Switch for 5 days in a row. I guess it doesn't have to be in a row, but for 5 days, and then you will get a golden lure module in your account that you could put on a Pokestop and spin yourself to get Pokecoins, or Gimmighoul coins. Then once you get 999 of them, you can evolve to Goldango. Unfortunately for me though, I did get these really cool 9th anniversary Gimmighoul background catches, but because it has a special background, it's considered a costume, and we can't evolve it, which is stupid. Next, we have Pancham, which is a very rare Pokemon released back in May of 2021. So it's been around for a while, and the shiny has been around for a while too. But in order to evolve it to Pangoro, you have to set this as your buddy and catch 32 Dark-type Pokemon, which isn't a very hard thing to do, especially because nowadays in Pokemon Go, the time of day and the location that you're in will impact the spawns you see in the wild. So theoretically, hunting during nighttime, you could probably get these 32 Dark-type Pokemon. But they do not always spawn, and if you want to wait for an event that spawns Dark-type Pokemon, you might have to wait till, like, Halloween. So they could be a little tricky. And I'm realizing now that I've actually never evolved the shiny Pancham to a shiny Pangoro, so I'm gonna have to do this. Then we have Primeape evolving over to this guy, Annihilape. Annihilape was released back in November of 2023, and in order to evolve it, you need 100 candies, and you have to defeat 30 Psychic or Ghost type Pokemon. Now, if I'm not mistaken, because this does not specify it needing to be in like raids or anything like that, I'm pretty sure you could PvP against a friend and just have them use Psychic or Ghost type Pokemon that are like 10 CP, and you can just plow through their teams, and I think that counts. Oh, you have to set the Primeape as your buddy, by the way. You don't actually have to use the Primeape in the battles. Just set it as your buddy and defeat 30 Ghost or Psychic type Pokemon. Again, I'm pretty sure that PvP, that friendly PvP thing works. If it doesn't, finding Team Go Rocket grunts that are easy battles is a good way to go through this, or like low-level raid bosses. But Psychic and Ghost type Pokemon, not the most common, so this can take a bit of time. Next, we have Farfetch'd to evolve over to this Pokemon, Galarian Farfetch'd, which is really, really cool. It's a super sick Pokemon and a great shiny, but a tricky evolution. In order to evolve it, as you can see, you have to make 10 excellent throws. So just set Farfetch'd as your buddy and make 10 excellent throws, and then you can evolve it. Well, this is Galarian Farfetch'd, not regular Farfetch'd. And the easiest way to do this is just by catching legendary Pokemon and just hitting easy excellence. Then we've got Galarian Yamask, which was released back in October of 2020. It's been 6 years. We've had this for almost 6 years, and we have the shiny. Really cool Pokemon. To evolve it, though, is tricky. You must set your Galarian Yamask as your buddy and win 10 raids. Now, winning 10 raids is not that hard because you could just do tier 1 raids. The hard thing is that's expensive to do. So be prepared to have to maybe spend a little bit of money or use your free raid pass once a day for 10 days. Eevee has some of the trickiest evolutions in the entire game, and arguably the hardest is Sylveon. Now, if you've never used this before, there are specific name tricks that you can do with Eevee. Basically, if you have never used the name trick, you can use it once, which means you can name an Eevee Kira, as you see on screen right here, and evolve it, and it will automatically evolve to a Sylveon. But once you use that name trick once, you can't use it again. So that's one way to get it. The other way to get it is by setting Eevee as your buddy and earning 70 buddy hearts with it. Then once you do that, you can evolve it, and it will evolve into Sylveon. But 70 buddy hearts can take quite a bit of time. And definitely takes a lot of commitment, but it's a really beautiful evolution. Next up, we have Feebas to evolve over to Milotic, which is a beautiful Pokemon and a great shiny, and it's been around for years. I actually have 3,700 candy, which is crazy because this is kind of a rare Pokemon, but regardless, to evolve it, you need to set Feebas as your buddy and walk 20 kilometers, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of a long time. The best way to do this, though, especially nowadays, is just making sure Adventure Sync is on your device so that while you're walking around just normally during the day with your phone in your pocket, you're getting kilometers towards your account that will eventually get you to 20, even if you're not like walking and playing Pokemon Go. But it definitely takes a little bit of time walking 20 kilometers with your buddy. For sure worth it. Super sick Pokemon. Then we have one of my favorite shinies ever, shiny Magikarp, which has been around since the start of Pokemon Go. This is like Generation 1 OG. But even though it's been around forever, doesn't make it a very easy evolution. This is one of the iconic 400 candy evolutions. And if you're like me and you've played since the beginning of time, and also I live in Los Angeles and I go to the Santa Monica Pier, I used to all the time, I was in areas where water Pokemon would spawn, so I have almost 10,000 Magikarp candy. But if you're newer to the game or you just haven't hunted Magikarp a lot, they're kind of tricky, and you really will only see them in the wild unless you A, live by water, or B, play during an event where Magikarp is spawning. Kind of like right now when I'm recording this, the Lunar New Year event, I think, is spawning more Magikarp and possibly even Gyarados in the wild. So that's kind of a way to get that. But evolving, getting 400 candy can take a while if you don't have a lot already. Then we've got Meltan, which is a mythical released back in November of 2018, and it's actually one of the only mythical Pokemon in the Pokemon franchise that can evolve. In order to evolve Meltan to Melmetal, you need 400 candies. That's pretty much it. I have a lot of candies, but the problem with Meltan is that it's very difficult to get. In order to get Meltan, you have to transfer a Pokemon from your Pokemon Go account to a Pokemon Home account, which then allows you to do this, use your mystery box, which kind of like the Gimmighoul thing, basically just gives you an hour incense that specifically spawns Meltan. Important to note, though, Meltan cannot be shiny at all times. You have to wait for an event to come around that allows you to catch shiny Meltan, and then it can be shiny off of the mystery box. But That's how you do that. And then you get yourself a Melmetal, which looks like this. It's super cool. I have a great one. I guess it's not great, but it's shiny and it's big and it's very cool. Next, we have Wimpod, which is another 400 candy evolution to get yourself a Golisopod, which this is what the shiny looks like. Very cool shiny. 400 candies, not hard to get. The only problem is Wimpod doesn't really spawn that much. So you do need to keep your eyes out and wait for an event where Wimpod is spawning and catch as much of it as you can to get the 400 candies. Same thing with Noibat, going over to Noivern, which is a wonderful shiny. Noibat requires 400 candies, or Noivern requires 400 candies, and this is a very, very rare Pokemon. This is like one of the like iconic rares in Pokemon Go where it doesn't really spawn that much. It's sometimes in eggs. I got lucky enough though to play Community Day event for Noibat, and I think it's had maybe 1 or 2 other events since. So this is definitely a Pokemon that will come around during special events, but that's kind of it, which makes it very, very hard to evolve if you have not played for a long time, or if you just haven't played during these major events. But I've got 7,700 candies, so don't worry, when these do come around, there'll be an opportunity for you to grind them and you can get all the candies in the world that you possibly need for Noivern. Another 400 candy evolution we have is Larvesta going over to Volcarona. Now, this is difficult because Larvesta is only available in eggs, and it's the rarest hatch that you could possibly get in eggs. Actually, kind of cool here. I have a couple of Larvesta. I have 400 candies, so let's actually evolve this over to our first ever shiny Volcarona, which is cool, but hard to get. I think I got all these shinies. I think one I got randomly from hatching a 5-kilometer egg, but the other ones I'm pretty sure were from like an event that had boosted. Wow, this looks crazy as a shiny, by the way. That's such a good shiny, Volcarona. Cool. Going into the shiny decks, add that in there. This is a good video to do it. Cool, dude. That's a crazy shiny. 400 candies, and it's egg exclusive. Now we have a very controversial one, Cosmog evolving over to Solgaleo or Lunala. The reason why this is controversial is because basically when it came out back in the day, it was only through special research, and you only got one, which means you can only get a Solgaleo or a Lunala, which are now in raids, and there's plenty of them to go around. But before that point, you could only get one single Cosmog. So basically, you got a Cosmog for 25 candy. You could evolve it to a Cosmoem, which I don't have currently in my account, but I have in the Pokedex. As you can see here, Cosmog, we've got, oh, no shinies, Cosmoem, and then you can evolve the Cosmoem into either Solgaleo or Lunala. The only thing, though, is that Cosmog is not currently available in Pokemon Go, and it hasn't been for like a year, almost a year now. And the only way to get it is if it ever comes back in special research, because I don't think they're going to bring this to raids. The nice thing, though, is that Lunala and Solgaleo both use Cosmog candy. So when these are in raids like they are right now when I'm recording this, you can battle them, get as much candy as you need, and then eventually evolve Cosmog if you want. But I'm never going to evolve these just because, I mean, I might evolve, you know what, here, why don't we just evolve one? Let's see, this is the 2023, that's the OG one. We'll evolve the 2025 one over to Cosmoem, just so I have one in my account, like, actively. But Cosmog and Cosmoem are kind of cool Pokemon, because again, I don't think they'll ever come to raids. So if you get them, you shouldn't evolve them. You should keep one Cosmog, one Cosmoem, just to keep in your account and to look at in your collection. Never evolve them over to Solgaleo or Lunala, because these are in the raids. But the cool thing, though, is that when you have a Cosmoem, the only way to evolve it is if you want a Solgaleo, you have to evolve it during the daytime, and if you want a Lunala, you have to evolve it during the nighttime. So that's kind of a fun evolution mechanic there, but I wouldn't recommend evolving because, again, these guys are in raids. Here's a crazy one, Salandit to Salazzle. I did get lucky enough to get a shiny Salandit from a 12-kilometer egg, which is so cool because this shiny is fantastic. But unfortunately, I can't evolve it because the only way to be able to evolve a Salandit is if it's a female Salandit, which you can see right here. I've got this female Salandit, and I can't evolve it over to a Salazzle. Now, the thing here is Salandit only comes from 12-kilometer eggs. Look at the shiny. And you have a 12.5% chance of hatching a Salandit from a 12-kilometer egg. 12 kilometers, by the way, are very hard to get and very expensive to grind, because in order to get a 12-kilometer egg, you have to beat a team leader. To battle a team leader, either you have to battle, 5 Pokemon Go grunts in order to get a Rocket Radar, or you can just buy a Rocket Radar for like $2. So these are expensive to grind. Then if you get lucky enough to hatch a Salandit, you only have a 1.79% chance of hatching a female Salandit. So you need to hatch over 50 eggs to guarantee yourself a female Salandit. I'm sorry, you need to hatch, a lot of eggs to get a female Salandit, and it has a shiny. Now, the shiny odds in the eggs are roughly 1 in 64, so in order to get a shiny female Salandit, it is The odds are 1 in 3,584 12-kilometer eggs. Crazy. So female shiny Salandit, very, very hard to get. I don't even have one. Very similar evolution mechanic here with Combi evolving over to a Vespiquen. The only way to get a Vespiquen, it's the queen, of course, you need a female Combi. The male Combis will not evolve the Vespiquen, just the females. The catch, though, is male Combi are way more common. It's very hard to find a female Combi, so these can be a little tricky. Next up, Clamperl. Released back in February of 2019. This Pokemon's been around for a while. It's a beautiful shiny, and in order to evolve it to Huntail, which looks like this, or Gorobis, which looks like this, really nice shinies, it's random. You basically just have to catch a bunch of them and randomly evolve them until you get one of each. There's no way to guarantee it, so that could be a little annoying if you don't have many. We'll try it. We have this one from 2023. Let us randomly evolve our Clamperl. What are we gonna get here? I would much rather have a Gorobis over a Huntail because I feel like Huntail is like way more common for me personally. So a golden shiny Gorobis would be great. It's Huntail. I think Gorobis is the harder one to get in my experience. Here's a cool one, Ursaring. Shiny Ursaring, well, any Ursaring, evolving over to Ursaluna. So if we go over to an Ursaring, as you can see, the evolution button, Ursaring can only evolve during a full moon. Yes, you have to wait until there's a full moon in Pokemon Go or in real life, which should mirror in Pokemon Go. Then you have to spend 100 candies and you can evolve it. The cool thing though is that you can, that a Shadow Shiny exists. Shadow Shiny Teddiursa has been around in the team leaders for a while, so you can get a Shadow Shiny Ursaluna if you are lucky enough to evolve and have one to evolve during a full moon. But sometimes Pokemon Go events happen where you can just do this. Also, too, I think there's an adventure effect on either Solgaleo or Lunala. Oh, no, it's, no, it's the Necrozma versions of this. Moongeist Beam allows nighttime evolutions during the day, although I don't know if this counts for Ursaluna. Maybe you can't use this. Scatterbug might be one of the hardest evolution families in Pokemon Go to get. As you can see, if we look at Scatterbug, it only requires 25 candy, but each one of these Scatterbugs that I have will evolve into different Vivillon, which look like this, and they can be shiny, and it's impossible. I don't even think I have one. The reason why is because you have to collect postcards in order to get Scatterbug encounters, which basically means somebody needs to send you a gift from a different part of the world. You need to pin that gift to your postcard folder, which then unlocks an encounter with a Scatterbug from that region. And then it requires 125 candies to get it from Scatterbug over to a Vivillon. And there are 20 different Vivillon forms to collect. So you also need 2,500 Scatterbug candy, and you do not get a lot from catching them. So to complete all your Vivillon forms, you have to do a lot of coordination, a lot of global coordination, and you need a lot of candies, most likely rare candies. These are impossible. I currently have how many forms? Only 10. I'm like halfway there. In order to get Pawmot in Pokemon Go, you have to get a Pawmi, evolve it over to a Pawmo, and then walk 25 kilometers with it as your buddy. And it's not worth it because this isn't a good Pokemon. As you can see, I've walked 30 kilometers with this guy. A very interesting evolution mechanic is this, Tyrogue, because it will evolve into either Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, or Hitmontop based on its IVs. If its attack stat is the highest, it will evolve to a Hitmonlee. So let's see if we can find one with, here we go. So you see how the attack stat is the highest? If we scroll down, Hitmonlee. If the defense stat is the highest, it will evolve to Hitmonchan. And if its HP stat is the highest, it will evolve over to a Hitmontop, which I think I just caught this one in the wild. Now, it does beg the question, what happens when you have a 100% IV version of it or one with matching IVs? I think it just randomly picks one. So that's how that works. Swirlix, another cool shiny and one with an interesting evolution mechanic, requires you to give your buddy 25 treats. So you can just set Swirlix as your buddy and just keep throwing berries at it until you get to 25, and then you can evolve it over to a Slurpuff, which is a really nice looking shiny. Although Furfrou technically doesn't evolve, it's got a very interesting form change mechanic, which is kind of like evolutions, that allows you to change its form into multiple different forms. Here are all the trims you can get: Natural, Matron, Dandy, Diamond, Star, Laraine, Kabuki, Pharaoh, and Heart. And this is actually one of the most difficult families, evolution families, to complete in Pokemon Go because some of these Furfrou trims are regional. The Star trim you can only get in the Asia Pacific region, and it looks like this, shiny, which looks so cool. The Laraine trim only available in France, which I've got right here, shiny. The Kabuki trim only available in Japan, which I've got. The Pharaoh trim only available in Egypt, which I do not have. And the Heart trim, which is only available during Valentine's Day. And this Valentine's Day, I totally forgot to do a form change so that I can have a shiny heart trim, which sucks because I have a bunch of extra shinies, but now I'm going to have to wait a whole year before I can get this shiny. And then there are 26 Pokemon that require evolution items in Pokemon Go. They're all kind of difficult to get just because evolution items aren't that common. You have about a 1% chance of getting a Generation 2 evolution item from a Pokestop or a gym spin, which includes the Sunstone, King's Rock, Metal Coat, Dragon Scale, or Upgrade. And a 7-day Pokestop spin streak gives you a much more reliable chance at getting an evolution item, somewhere around a 20 to 30% chance. Sinnoh Stones you can get during the Go Battle League, Trainer Battles, and Team Go Rocket Leader Battles, and Unova Stones typically come from research breakthroughs, special events, or special research. And I have all of these. Let me know in the comments if there's any Pokemon that you don't have, and check out these other 2 videos on screen right now to continue the party. I'll see you in there. Thank you for watching.